Hello again, everyone. I'm J. Michael Moore, managing editor of AtlantaFalcons.com, and still in desperate need of a haircut just 2 days before the start of Russell Falcons training camp. The theory now is to just let it go as long as I can and shave it all off before I get out in the 100-degree heat in Flowery Branch, Georgia. Hopefully, the wife can address that tonight or tomorrow with the clippers and just get this shaggy mop off the top so I can try to stay cool. But one thing I wanted to do before we did that is take one last round of your questions via Voices Heard. AtlantaFalcons.com/ask a question is the URL, and be sure to check back on that throughout the season as we'll be bringing in players for you to ask questions for, some other interactive elements that we're going to be rolling out on there as well. So be sure to bookmark that URL and keep an eye on it throughout the 2009 season, because we're going to be doing some fun things and letting you ask your questions directly of me and others in the Falcons organization about pretty much anything moving forward. But I wanted to get to a few questions here, some of the highest rated questions, and thank you all again for submitting them at atlantafalcons.com/ask a question. I'm going to try to get that URL in just one more time before we're done. First question comes from Trey Main 58, and he asks, our first round pick, Perret Jerry, healthy now? Is our first round pick, Perret Jerry, healthy now? And how is he looking and responding with the other teammates, rookies, vets, coaches in the playbook? And between Christopher Owens, William Middleton, and Von Hutchins, how is that battle looking? Well, in Perret Jerry, here we are. It's on Thursday before training camp, and you see some reports out there that the two sides between Atlanta Falcons and Jerry are getting close to signing a contract. That's the first thing. You want to get him into camp, and again, we'll wait and see how that shakes out. But other than that, he's looked very good in the OTAs and mini camps that I've seen. It's hard with linemen, especially because there are no pads at that point. But he is very explosive, and everything you've seen, particularly in that Florida game, Ole Miss Florida game, and also a game against LSU where he had some good plays, can really get into the backfield and disrupt things. And from a nose tackle position, a guy that's big that can do that, it's pretty impressive. Now, he did say the playbook's a little daunting. All the rookies did, but they're learning it as quick as they can. And really, a preseason games is when you'll be able to see how far they've come along. But again, big things expected out of Perret Jerry. The cornerbacks you asked about, Christopher Owens, William Middleton, a safety, and Von Hutchins. I just published something on AtlantaFalcons.com today previewing the secondary. It's a wide open competition. Don't want to put anybody out in front just yet. But keep an eye out for Christopher Owens. I'm curious to see him both in one-on-one drills and team drills to see if his size is a factor, because that was a knock on him coming out of college, that he was a little bit undersized. But he's very fast, has good ball skills, and I'm just ready to see William Moore hit somebody. Next question comes from CapGun22. What is the word on JA98, Jamal Anderson? It's progress, passion, intensity level, and desire to live up to everyone's expectations. Well, passion and intensity level are there. You can't be in the NFL. You definitely can't get to year 2 and 3 of your career in the NFL if you don't have it. People just see through it. You don't feel right. You see a lot of guys retiring early in their career because it maybe wasn't what they expected in the NFL, or they aren't just cut out to do it. And Jamal Anderson has the size, the intensity that you speak of, the passion. He's got it all. I think what you got to remember about him is you're going into the third year, and most people say that's a quarterback's year to really shine, is in that third year. But it really applies to every position, particularly a guy who had a raucous 2007, if you look at what the Falcons franchise went through. And then 2008, his first time working with a defensive line coach that he loves, Sugar Bear Hamilton, fantastic defensive line coach, one of the best in the game. So when you see Judge Jamal, what he does is he keeps moving forward. And there was a step between 2007 and 2008. See if there's one to 2009. And way too early to declare someone a bust. But you're right about living up to people's expectations. Jamal Anderson will say that himself, that he knows he's got big shoes to fill. He knows that he's on the verge of disappointing people. So he's a hard worker. We'll see where that goes and see what he does in the future, maybe moving into defensive tackle and 3-4 schemes. There's a lot of different options for him, and you saw him working inside. Even last year, some was very productive. So he's flexible, and we'll have to see where that flexibility leads him. Next question comes from KB. Is Thomas Decoud going to start? Why won't Atlanta sign cornerbacks out of free agency, such as Chris McAllister? I mean, Atlanta will be facing big-name receivers such as Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. Well, let's put it this way. I've seen a lot of talk, a lot of speculation, got a lot of questions about Chris McAllister in particular and other veteran cornerbacks that are on the free agent market and why the team's not making a move. Well, First of all, when you talk about being slow in free agency, or let's just bring this guy in and he'll work, ask yourself, has there been any interest in other teams? Has he signed anywhere else? Is he talking about signing anywhere else? In the case of Chris McAllister, I haven't heard too much. And look at Chris McAllister's numbers. Here's a guy who's only played in 14 games over the past 2 seasons and has never, or excuse me, only 3 times in his career, and that's since 1999, has played in every game in a season. So there's an injury factor there. And you got to just think, other teams aren't really going after, so maybe there's not a system fit. Well, even if he is a system fit, when you're bringing in a veteran free agent, you have veteran minimums and salary cap money to deal with, and you also go against what this team has said from the very beginning, that they're going to go young on the defense, young, aggressive, build through the draft, supplement through free agency. So at this point of the game, not ruling anything out. There could still be moves made at cornerback as you get into camp, but Thomas Dimitroff and company here, Mike Smith, like the young guys they got. A lot of people don't. They say they're not experienced enough, but the team has confidence in them, and there is some valuable NFL experience in this group, even though they're young. When you look at Brent Grimes and Chevis Jackson, they have starting experience in the NFL. You have Von Hutchins, who was out last year after signing a free agent deal with the Falcons. So really going to see what he can do as well. So just caution people, don't get caught up into this free agency business because it's not always what it's cracked up to be. Your question about Thomas DeCoux, well, he has been working with a starting unit at free safety. Eric Coleman is a guy who can play both positions. So Thomas DeCoux, will he start? Way too early to tell, but he's looked good. He's been aggressive, fiery guy, built like a true free safety, but he's also big enough to come in on the blitz. Saw that a few times. I wrote in a story on AtlantaFalcons.com earlier in the year about how versatile he is. So we'll see how that shakes out, but William Moore is still in the mix. Also got a guy like Jamal Fudge, Antoine Harris, 2 guys who can come in and play valuable snaps there through training camp in the preseason. This team got 4 safeties last year, but again, depending on special teams, you'll see how many corners and safeties that are kept. Some coaches also tend to lean toward linebackers to have more guys at that position on special teams as well. But that it will be the first position that I write about in training camp too, in terms of position battles, and look for that on the first Monday of training camp, which I believe is August 3rd. I'll be jumping in and talking a little bit about the safety position battle. Again, that's Russell Falcons training camp at Atlanta Falcons Park, or the Atlanta Falcons practice facility, whatever you want to call it. We call it a lot of different things around here in the branch. AtlantaFalcons.com/training camp. And then next week, if you're in the Atlanta area, be sure to check out All Access Weekend at Brookwood High School. More information there at AtlantaFalcons.com/all access. Thanks everyone for accompanying me through this journey of questions as we get ready for training camp. And again, stay with AtlantaFalcons.com/ask-a-question or AtlantaFalcons.com/voicesheard to throw your questions out throughout the season for players, coaches, pretty much anyone we can bring in as we really explore what you want to know about your Atlanta Falcons.